Slowpoke. Who takes
Yes.
care of Slowpoke?
So I take care of Slowpoke because my mother-in-law is elderly and disabled, and so is my husband. He's not disabled. He's not elderly, but he's disabled, although he did just turn 50. So I like to pick on him.
Oh,
But but yeah, he's not in good shape at the moment. So I take care of her and I don't mind because I've been with my husband for 23 years. So the tortoise has always been around. So I know her and she knows me. So caring for her is real easy, keep her head fed, keep her happy, clean up her poop, clean up the old food she doesn't eat, cut the weeds sometimes. So, it's great. I don't mind it at all.
yeah. How
She's
much,
fun.
like, is it high maintenance or?
Not really. I think the worst thing that's ever happened is we have a misting system in there. And somehow the hose disconnected from the sprinkler system and like flooded in there.
Uh-oh. Hmm.
And we both work from home, right? But if we're both busy, we're both in a meeting or something, we're not always checking what's going on out back. And unless I see something bad on camera, like I kind of notice. I went out there, I was like, oh, we got a problem.
Oh,
So, he, thank God, has a technical brain. So he was able to fix it. But it's pretty low maintenance. Really, like I said, I go in there once a week. I pick up dog poop once a week at a minimum, usually every couple days. And so every Saturday I go in there and I'll pick up her feces and her food that she's left throughout the week. And I trim the weeds. I'll take a weed whacker in there when they get bad. I like to let the grass grow high because she does like to hide in there. It keeps her cool. But when it's out of control, I'll do that. Or if like after the spring, after she's been brumating, the weeds will pop up real bad, not just high grass, but like weeds. I'll have to go in there and pick all the weeds and stuff. So it's not bad. And she digs holes. She likes to dig.
yeah.
Um, what she does is she has a doghouse with a little ramp and there's sand in there. So she likes to dig and kick the sand. And sometimes there's too much space between the house and the ramp. And so I've got to build it up with sand again because her little turtle body gets stuck in the doorway and she can't
Oh,
get her way down. So
yeah. So you have the misting thing to keep her cool
mhm.
and everything.
Yeah.
So she does like a little water, like, but she's not
Yeah.
like desert tortoises, I guess, aren't really swimmers, right?
No. Because technically tortoises are dry land,
Oh,
turtles like wet,
yeah.
right? So I do have a terracotta dish that I have water, I keep it filled with water, and she drinks out of it. Sometimes, when she came out of hibernation, I filled it up and she stuck her whole head in there and like these bubbles were coming up, like she was loving it. But they do get moisture from their food. So
Mhm.
when she first comes out of hibernation, we give her a lot of iceberg because it has a higher water content.
Okay.
But the watermelon, the iceberg, so she eats that for her moisture, and the sprinklers give her moisture on her skin as well. So she's got water, but she does take in moisture that way.
That's interesting. Yeah. That's really
Yeah,
interesting.
things you don't think about.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, so we were talking about her fan base,
Hmm.
Boise. Um
Who knew?
yeah, she's nationally a household name, I guess,
Yeah,
for many people.
and my nieces follow her too, and they're
Okay.
in Oregon, Washington State. So
Yeah.
they love her, they follow her. So she's all over. She's nationwide.
But her Boise fan club, I mean, they
Mhm.
were your coworkers, is that correct?
Yeah, so
Oh,
my the home office for my law firm is based out of Boise. So even though we work remotely, a lot of the girls on my team are still in that area. So so she's got some fans out there.
okay. Yeah,
So they
yeah.
were interested in her. And I leave pictures in the chat too, like because we use Microsoft Teams for work.
Okay.
To communicate with each other.
Yeah.
So we have a fun chat and we have a serious chat, like, hey, I need help with this. Can someone, then we have what we call the water cooler chat where we just BS in there. And I'm always dropping pictures of her and like, telling her, oh, guess what Slowpoke did today?
Oh
And
wow.
they tell me they like it. So yeah, but I want to know more about Ashley.
Oh.
Because I remember in high school, and I would love to talk more about what you write.
Well, yeah, so that was something that I that I wrote for Kindle Vella under a pseudonym. Um, but so I didn't realize, so you actually did give that a try, the Kindle Vella.
Yeah, I didn't finish it, but I loved how far I got. It was, I
But
loved it.
thank you. But I like, how do you feel about the Kindle Vella format? Do you enjoy that? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I had it on my phone, so
yeah.
really, like, it was just okay, click and read. It was
Yeah.
easy.
That's, oh
That.
yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Yeah, the Kindle Vella, you publish it
Mhm.
to Kindle Vella, and you can get the first 3 episodes for free,
Mhm.
and then if you want to keep reading, you buy these tokens, like token
Oh,
packages.
okay.
And so I don't know if you got that far, but
I didn't.
actually, if you do the first time you buy the
Mhm.
first time, like, okay, let's say you're sitting down to read your first Kindle Vella story.
Mhm.
You'll read episode 1, and then you could read episode 2, and then you could read episode 3, and then when you go to read episode 4, Amazon is gonna give you 200 free tokens to keep reading.
Cool.
And with my stories, I have a few. Actually, the big one that I'm working on is actually a Louisiana love story. So
I've seen you, yeah, advertise
yeah,
that.
so with my story, um, if you proceed to read episode 4, and Amazon gives you the free tokens, I don't know. It only happens if it's your first
Yeah.
story, because they don't keep giving you 200 free tokens.
Of
I wish
course
they
not.
would, but yeah, I wish they would, but yeah, it'll let you read in my story. That'll get you like up to like episode 25 or something. Um,
Okay.
and then yeah, and then I figure, I mean, by the time you get to episode 25, you probably know if you like the story or not by then. So I figure
Right.
it's kind of a nice way to kind of decide, oh,
Yeah.
is this a book I want to pay for? You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Kindle Vella is kind of neat, and I'm actually going to interview. I've got 2 authors that I'm going to interview later on in July.
That's excellent.
Yeah,
May
two.
I ask who they are, or?
Yeah, one of them is Andrea Maxon.
Mhm.
She wrote let's see, she wrote she wrote a few that I've actually written a few reviews for. I'll have to,
Awesome.
yeah, I'll put the links in the description, but because there's quite a few of them, and I'll interview her first, and then I'm going to interview J.A. Price, uh,
Mhm.
who she wrote a really cool story called Honey Trapped, which is, I honestly, I think you might really like this one. It's about this FBI agent who goes undercover to get this, like, this really bad guy that's doing all this, like, sex trafficking and stuff, and in order
Okay.
to get him, he has to go undercover working for him, but he gets is honey trapped. He gets, it's kind of a
Yeah.
double entendre, because well, that's the honey trap, right? But at the same time, it's
Yeah.
also a love story, because he ends up falling in love with the guy's sister, who's actually
Oh.
who's actually a good person. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, and he has to kind of deceive her, and I don't know, I'm not going to spoil it, but
I get
I'm
where
gonna,
it's going.
yeah, I'm going to interview her later on. Anyway, that's a really great story.
That is so cool.
Yeah, so
I love it.
yeah, yeah, I'm all about Kindle Vella.
Well,
Uh, really, yeah, I've got 2 Substack newsletters that I'm doing. One is Kindle Vella Reviews
mhm.
.substack.com, I'll put the link in the description. And the other one is
Yeah,
heavycrownpress.substack.com, which is kind of it's all over the map. It's everything that I come up with that I want to write about, and
I
anything
love it.
I'm thinking about, it's whether it's film analysis or film review or book analysis or just philosophy or just whatever I think of
Love
that I
it.
just want to talk about.
Is that how you came up with this podcast? You just
Both
wanted
of
to
them.
talk about different
Yeah.
things? Yeah, I love
Yeah.
it. I love it.
The first two people that I interviewed were two actors that are
Mhm.
well, one of them's an actor and filmmaker.
Okay.
They're both filmmakers really, but I think they both graduated from LSU here in Baton
Mhm.
Rouge from the MFA program, the Master of Fine Arts program. They both graduated from that, and that's how my mom was in that program. So that's kind of how I knew them, and
Okay. That's so cool.
yeah, so that's how I started doing the interviews, and then I just on a whim, I just wanted to kind of talk to you about the tortoise and fan culture and
Yes.
anything else that you want to talk about. And then I just kind of at this point I'm thinking that I just want to platform creative people, just people who are just doing interesting things.
Yeah.
There are people like us who are actually doing stuff
Well,
that,
actually, really
you know,
interesting.
yeah, yeah,
I have to tell you, in this little town here,
yeah.
there are so many interesting people. Like, we really are just average people, but you get to talk to people. They've got fascinating stories. Like, I remember this one customer, little old lady. She was the sweetest thing, and she didn't remember, a lot. I don't know if she was, had dementia or Alzheimer's. Like, she was, she was starting to not remember, but she remembered that her husband was part of the Manhattan Project, and I was like, what? And she just said it so nonchalant, like, oh yeah, no big deal. And I was like, oh my god. I was like, that is a part of history. Like,
Was
amazing.
was it New Mexico or Arizona? I can't remember that.
New
What
Mexico.
New Mexico, okay.
Hmm.
But still, I mean, it's right there.
Yeah, desert.
Yeah.
Desert life.
Yeah.
What's that, what's the movie that's coming out that I think you were talking about it. Remind me.
That. Let me see. Oppenheimer. Yeah, that's the name of
That's
the
what
movie. Um,
I
yeah,
don't know what gave me that
Oppenheimer.
thought.
Yeah, it says oh, Jack Quaid, Dennis Quaid's son.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Emily Blunt,
I
Robert
love
Downey
her.
Jr.
Oh, I
Uh,
love him.
yeah, those are the only people I recognize besides
So
Matt
this
Damon, of course.
this is how I have to trick my husband into seeing movies with me. I'm like, don't you want to see a movie with Tony Stark? And then
Oh
I'll
my,
be like, oh, what movie? Because okay, have you seen Love Actually?
of course, yes.
So I always go, oh, you want to see that movie? It's got like Rick Grimes and Hans Gruber. He's like, no. I'm like,
Oh,
but it's got Qui-Gon Jinn. I'm not falling for that one again.
oh, that's awesome. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's too funny. So tell me about the Indiana Jones movie, because we want to see that. We love Indiana Jones in this house.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Indiana Jones. Still my favorite Indiana Jones movie is actually still I think it's the third one, the Holy Grail.
Yes,
With
correct.
yeah,
He chose
Sean
poorly.
Connery as his
Yes.
dad. That's my favorite. That one right there.
Hmm.
But I love this one. It's fantastic. There's no Indiana Jones. If you're an Indiana Jones fan, you will be very pleased and
Okay.
satisfied. It's riveting from start to finish. Um,
Awesome.
and
Because the
he's
previous was
amazing. The CGI, I mean, how they make him look, you know, like he did
younger.
back in the day,
Yeah.
in the beginning. That's incredible.
Okay.
I mean, you won't even have to suspend your disbelief, like
I love it.
remember in Obi-Wan how they use the CGI
Mhm.
on Hayden Christensen, and some people
Yeah.
kind of critical of it, which I wasn't, because I just thought I really don't care. I mean, it's the two of them together again. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's
But
about the story.
yeah, yeah. But people were flipping out because they were like, he doesn't look like he's, 20 something
Whatever.
or whatever, you know. But I guess they're just constantly improving that
They
technology.
are.
Yeah.
Well, it's really funny because I think that's something I really like old movies, old black and white movies. And I
Mhm.
like it because they didn't have CGI. They didn't have the technology. So they had to rely on their movie making skills. Not that CGI is not movie making, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like they had to rely on different camera angles and they didn't
Mhm.
have the music in the movies like the score that we have now. So like you really had to rely on that dialogue and like delivering it and getting it in there. Like I love those old movies. They're just fantastic.
All right. What are some of your favorite old movies?
Oh gosh.
Pressure.
It's too much. It's too much
Sorry.
pressure. I will tell you a couple things.
Okay.
I'll leave you with these thoughts.
Okay.
So I love like Halloween horror stuff like that. So I had found this Hitchcock collection and I had never seen Rear Window. So I wanted to see that. I had never seen The Birds
Yeah.
or North by Northwest. So it had all three of those, and those are all Hitchcocks, and they were all fantastic. Sometimes like the overacting, like the scenes with the birds were a little ridiculous, but at the same time, like it was so fantastic.
Mhm.
I love Cary Grant. I love
Me too.
James Stewart. So you know what, the Philadelphia Story is a great one. Bringing Up Baby. I love those, like those kind of movies. I'd always wanted to see Sunset Boulevard,
Mhm.
and I'd never seen it. So maybe about a year ago, I finally watched it, and that movie is so dark. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but
Mhm.
it is about a basically a Hollywood actress. She was a silent film actress,
Mhm.
but this is in the 1950s now, so nobody watches silent films anymore. So she's washed up, so to speak, and she's just this messed up view on life, and she
Mhm.
finds this young writer and she kind of preys on him and like manipulates him and like makes him like stay with her. It's fantastic, and like at the very end, like she just goes insane, like oh my god, it's so good. I
Oh,
love it. I love those kind of movies.
yeah. So Hitchcock. I like Hitchcock too. I love Psycho.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah,
Psycho.
that actually, I've never seen it, believe it or not. So I
Oh,
need to push myself to watch these movies that I know are classics that I've never seen.
I don't think I saw Psycho until a few years ago either. And
Okay.
what really motivated me to see it was that show Bates Motel. Um,
I didn't see that, but I heard that was also
it's amazing.
fantastic.
Now, trigger warning. It's a trigger warning in the very beginning. There's something uh
Gruesome.
very gruesome that happens. So yeah, it definitely should come with a trigger warning. But it I mean, the writing, the characters, the way that they give you that background of Norman Bates and Norma Bates. I mean, they really bring her to life. And some of it is, you know, I guess some of it isn't, I guess, canon,
Yeah,
it's maybe not from the book Psycho, or
right.
like, the original story. They change things up. Like, I think there's a character in there, a half brother of Norman, that
Mhm.
I don't think he's in the book, but I haven't read the book, so I'm not sure, and I can't remember right now. But he's anyway. I It's still fantastic. Yeah, I don't care. Maybe if I had read the book, I might be really bothered by it, but I'm not bothered by it. It's all good.
That's too funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think when I read books, like I create the characters in my head, like, or sometimes I'll think what actors should play that character, but so when I see a movie and it's nothing like the book, I'm like, I usually get pretty upset, but sometimes I'm like, you know what, I like the movie better.
Yeah. So yeah, I know
Rarely, though.
sometimes that happens. It's like the Harry Potter movies. Do you like Harry Potter?
I don't want to say I don't like it. I just never
Oh,
got into it.
oh, okay.
But we can talk about it.
That's okay. Yeah, Harry Potter is very dear to my heart. So that's
Yeah.
kind of, I guess, I am to Harry Potter what your husband is to Star Trek. Yeah,
Or
that's
Star
great.
Wars. He's a bigger Star Wars fan, actually.
He's bigger into Star
But
Wars. Okay.
tell
Okay.
me,
Yeah.
how did you get started into Harry Potter? What was it? And about how old were you when you started reading it?
I started reading it in my 20s.
Hmm.
Because it was coming out at that
Yeah.
time. And I think I think she only had the 4 books out when I started reading it.
Okay. How
And
many are there? Oh, there's a lot, right?
yeah, there's 7. I
Okay.
I really connected with it at a time in my life when I was really going through very, very severe depression. And I think Harry Potter probably did, at least as much to help me get through that as anything else, medication or
Isn't that
therapy,
amazing?
you know. Yeah, it really
What
did.
what was it that was it the fact that you could just get lost in a whole new world? Could you really just identify with the characters? Did you see yourself in a character? What was it?
All of it.
Did
Yeah,
it for you?
all of
All of
it.
it. I
I
love
think
it.
getting lost in the magic and identifying with Harry and his, I guess, everybody in the world identifies with Harry Potter in some way because
Of
that's
course.
why he's one of the most beloved book
Yeah.
characters and movie characters. I mean, I think what is J.K. Rowling, like one of the highest grossing author of all time? I mean, I don't know. I
Person
can't
or
remember,
both?
something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
she hasn't, like, nobody's made more money selling books, just selling books. And
Isn't
that's
that
to say
amazing?
nothing of the money she's made from just the whole
Empire.
franchise. Just everything.
Yeah.
I mean, just the books alone, she made more money than any other author. Um,
That's amazing.
More books sold, more books translated, but I guess even though it's sort of, there's that universality, Harry
Mhm.
Potter is a universal, the universal relatability of Harry Potter. It's always personal, right? And
Mhm.
I think I really connect with Harry's kind of sense of, you connect with this character that he's kind of cut off, in the
Yeah.
beginning. He's a child, he's isolated, he's in the cupboard, and he
Right.
has to he finally connects with his world. He sort of
Yeah.
slowly learns to find where he belongs, and uh kind of finding his voice and his you know his unique, what he brings to the world. He slowly is connecting with that, and I think finding your voice and finding um your passion and your talents and your
Mhm.
strengths, and learning to connect with what makes you is to me, that's what makes the story so beautiful.
I
Yeah.
love it, and my
Yeah.
sister loves it, and my
Oh,
best friend loves it,
yeah.
so
Okay.
I know it's good.
Yeah.
I Yeah, I think when I first heard of Harry Potter, I was actually, part of a youth group at a church at the time, and I
Mm.
was helping with the junior high kids, and all the junior high kids were, like, into Harry Potter, so I think I started out with a bias in my mind going, "Oh, this is a kid's book."
Yeah.
But my sister said the first book is a little, for young readers, but she said every book after that is just fantastic. And she's like, it's totally adult. It can get dark. And she's like, I think you would really like it. So I just have to sit down and do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I don't know.
did
I mean, I love them all. I think the first, but I could see what she means, like what your friend means, that
you
probably the first book, if the kids book element
Mhm.
that one, it's worse with the first book, I guess. I mean, I can still love the first book, but
Yeah, of course.
yeah, after the first book, you get into the second book, and you could probably start with the second book and pick up, or even you could start with the third book and go from there, because she gives you a little rundown of, in the beginning, she kind of, so
That's good.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
No, that's really awesome.
yeah, you
Yeah,
could,
I know. I mean, it's huge. It is huge in pop culture and everything. So I know it wouldn't be that huge if it wasn't great.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
So tell me, let's
Hmm.
change subjects. What is it that you're drinking today?
Oh, Chardonnay. I
Okay.
don't know. I guess it's a little bottle I got from Trader Joe's.
Two
Um,
buck truck, man.
it's not too much chunk, but it's called Rebuttal. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
So I I am a wine drinker.
yeah.
Um, I ran out of wine and
Okay,
forgot to buy more. I don't know how that happens. So
that's
I was drinking a ginger ale and Jameson, and I drank it all already.
oh,
But it's hard
cool.
to tell because of my background. But this is from Tombstone, Arizona. We
Tomb
went there.
Tombstone,
Tombstone.
Tombstone,
We
Arizona. What's in Tombstone?
It is an old west town, about
Oh,
2 hours south of me. So
okay.
have you seen the movie Tombstone with Val Kilmer and Kurt Russell? It is
No.
one of my favorites from back in the day, and
Okay.
it's just such a good movie. And so we went there. I went there a couple of years ago, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, with my brother and sister, just for kind of a day visit. And then we took my mother-in-law, my husband and I. We went April or March. We went and we just had a good old time, walking around the old west town. And
Hmm.
they have reenactments, and they've got horse-drawn carriages. You can take rides on like a Wells Fargo like wagon. There's historical buildings and bars and saloons and things down there. So it was
Oh,
really a lot of fun. You can do a lot in a weekend.
that's cool. Yeah, a lot of people are getting into that old west thing these days with, there's a couple of shows, what, on Paramount, the big,
Yellowstone.
yeah, Yellowstone, and then 1923, right? Is the kind of
It,
the prequel.
I haven't gotten into them yet, but my brother says they're
Of,
fantastic. He
I'll be officially a librarian next summer. I'll get my master's degree in library science. So
Awesome.
yeah.
That is very cool. Is
Yeah.
is that what you wanted to do? Like, has that always been your dream to be a librarian, or what was it that you wanted to do when you were like a kid? What was your dream job?
I just write. Yeah, just a
Yeah,
writer. But you have to actually have a job. So so I
right.
thought, hey, what do I want to do to that, like, what can I do to support myself that I could actually stand? I thought, okay, I
Yeah.
finally got to, okay, librarian. Well, librarians have to have a master's degree,
Who
unfortunately.
knew?
I didn't want to, I didn't want, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go
Yeah,
to grad
it's a
school. I
lot of
didn't want to
money.
go back to school at all. But
I don't blame.
I went in kicking and screaming, and
You
finally
knew it was good for you.
I'm almost to the finish line. So
I'm so proud of you. That's
thank
awesome.
you. Thank you. So I'm definitely I'm kind of like slowpoke. I'm getting there.
Little old lady tagging
Old
along.
lady tugging along. Pop
You
culture
did.
and tortoises and Philadelphia,
Who
Burbank High.
knew?
We could always go back to that. What's going on at Burbank High these days?
Those. Have you seen it? When was the last time you saw that school? It has changed so much.
It has, yeah. Although, like, one part of it, I think the very front, then they added like
Mhm.
this whole section,
It's
right?
got elevators and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
It it is crazy because when we were there, I don't know about you, they kept saying, "Oh, we're gonna start groundbreaking a new school. You're gonna have a new school by the time you graduate." By the time I graduated, they just started to break up the parking lot.
Oh my gosh.
And but my nephews went there.
Hmm.
They went to the brand new school, and it was I guess it was 2011, Burbank had their 100th anniversary since becoming an incorporated city, or maybe, yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah, that's
And
what it was.
yeah, Burbank High was giving tours of the new school, and I think we were living in Arizona at the time, so we probably came out for the weekend. Um, or it might have coincided with some family event. I don't remember, but
Yeah.
we were here for it. I know that. And they gave us a tour of the school, and I was just in awe. It just looked like a brand new campus. Like it was not the same old beloved beat up Burbank High that we knew.
Uh, but yeah, I sort of vaguely remember 2011, how they were having
Hmm.
all those celebrations. And
Yeah, it was really neat.
Kim Fields did some stuff.
Oh
She went
yeah,
to
because she
Burbank
was.
High. Yeah.
Mhm. For sure. I actually knew her younger sister. She has
Oh,
a sister named Alexis, and she was around my grade in junior high, and she was friends with a friend of mine, and this girl Jessie. She used to throw these wild parties even in junior high. It was amazing. But I remember her being at one of these parties, and she borrowed my favorite belt, promised she would bring it back to school, but she was also an actress. And so I think she was probably on set a lot. And then I never saw her again after that. She took off with my favorite belt. So I like to tell people Kim Field's little sister stole my
oh,
belt.
that's great. Well, that's probably as good a note to close on as any, because we've got
Why
about, yeah,
not?
we've got about a minute left.
Well, I guess that's it
Yeah, yeah,
for
that
out.
was great. Thank you for,
It was such a pleasure.
yeah, thank you so much. Yes, it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
For sure.
So
And happy 4th. I don't know if you're going to air this on the 4th, but it's the 4th today.
it is the 4th today. Yes. That's another thing. I thought about doing a 4th of July background, and then I thought, no, I'm gonna go for the cozy room look. So,
I just download. I only had like 3 free downloads.
oh
I
yeah.
thought space is interesting. Let's do that.
Oh no. Yeah, that's all right.
That
Um,
works.
yeah. No, I love the Mandy on top of the world.
Right.
Mandy on top of the world. Taking care of
Oh.
her tortoise. All right.
Taking care of business. All right. Well, it was really, really, really fun. I enjoyed it.
Yes. Yes. And maybe we'll do it again sometime.
I will be on your show anytime.
Oh, thank you so much. All right. Happy
All right.
4th.
I will talk
Goodbye.
to you. Have a happy 4th.